So, lads, this is not a great look for the Indiana Fever organization. If you've got Caitlin Clark, the star of the Indiana Fever, she's going and seeing whatever about not seeing the Indiana Fever's doctors. Like, it is what it is with that. It is what it is. Like, I think a lot of players and teams get second opinions. But if you haven't seen here, Stephanie White says there's no update on Caitlin Clark or potential timeline. She met with another doctor, but White says she hasn't spoken with the trainer.
The superstar who reignited Indiana's love for basketball has just made the boldest statement in WNBA history without uttering a word. Caitlin Clark, the face of women's basketball and a player who draws crowds like a Taylor Swift tour, has reportedly gone silent with the Indiana Fever's medical staff following her recent groin injury.
Pretty much kind of leaked out the bag to the team that she was kind of going to get a second opinion. To me, an athlete like Caitlin Clark on her level, she should have been getting these second opinions. She should have been hearing from all these other doctors, man. But Stephanie White spoke to the media yesterday. She really didn't give a whole lot, but she did say that Caitlin Clark was in New York meeting with other doctors. Now, with all of that being said, what does the timetable look like to me for Caitlin Clark coming back? I keep telling y'all, around the 17th to the 30th of August.
Honestly, it's about time someone called out this organization for treating a once-in-a-generation talent like a background character in her own story. What's really unfolding behind the scenes at Gainbridge Fieldhouse suggests that Caitlin Clark might already be laying the groundwork for an early exit from Indiana sooner than anyone saw coming.
She has met with a different doctor. And she won't even give an update to the team. Not, oh yeah, you know, she's met with a different doctor and we're waiting on an update. She's waiting, or not even, well, that's basically it. They're waiting on, she's gone to a different doctor. They've heard nothing.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. When Caitlin Clark limped off the court on July 15th against the Connecticut Sun, clutching her right groin in visible frustration, it wasn't just another injury, it was the breaking point. According to sources, this is starting to resemble a Kawhi Leonard-type situation. A superstar losing all trust in her team's medical staff.
Caitlin Clark. Following a July 15th injury to her right groin, Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark underwent further medical evaluations earlier this week. The team can confirm that no additional injuries or damage were discovered through the evaluations. Clark will continue working with the Fever medical team on her recovery and rehabilitation, with the priority on her long-term health and well-being. There is no timetable available for Clark's return, and no additional details will be provided at this time. Any further updates will be shared as they become available. This isn't
just a rough patch. Clark has now suffered 4 separate muscle injuries this season. A left groin strain, a left quadriceps injury, and now a right groin strain. For a player who never missed a single game due to injury during her college career at Iowa or in her rookie WNBA season, this string of setbacks isn't random. It's a disturbing pattern, one that points directly to possible medical mismanagement.
Internet noticed something specific that Holly Rowe had to say on the broadcast. Holly Rowe said that before the last return after a quad injury, she had no practice time, which, if that's actually true, like if she wasn't practicing, if she wasn't going full speed, then why was she returning to the court? And that's actually something that I pointed out. I believe it was Scott Agnes reported that Caitlin had gone full speed in practice, but there was only one practice that she had gone full speed, and then she returned to...
The breaking point came when Clark was rushed back from her previous groin injury, only to aggravate it again just a few games into her return. According to sources close to the situation, Clark made her stance clear to team officials. "I'm getting my own doctors. I'm not using our doctors." She since consulted with outside physicians and has reportedly cut off communication with the Fever's training staff, refusing to provide updates on her...
Clark's team has made it known we are going to be holding her out until she is fully recovered. We are not going to be rushing her back at all. After taking Indiana Fever's advice, eventually Caitlin Clark needs to take matters into her own hands, make decisions for herself, and I believe that's what we are seeing with the team that she now has surrounding her.
Let's look at the facts the Indiana Fever doesn't want you to see. Caitlin Clark's injury timeline reads like a case study in medical mismanagement. On May 3rd, she sat out the exhibition opener with left leg soreness. By May 26th, she missed the first official game of her career due to a left quad strain. In June, she was sidelined for 5 games with a left groin injury. Then, on July 15th, she went down again, this time with a right groin strain in the final minutes against the Connecticut Sun. Just over a week later, on July 24th, the Fever announced there was no timetable for her return and offered no further details. That's 11 regular season games missed plus the Commissioner's Cup final. For context, that's nearly half the WNBA season lost to recurring soft tissue injuries, the kind that should be preventable with proper conditioning, load management, and medical oversight.
We're speculating that Caitlin Clark injury could be much worse than expected. You know, these type of injuries and the way she's been getting these injuries is not normal. To have these strains back to back to back like this, and I said this before, Caitlin Clark mobility is off, bro. I believe she might have came back too fast from the first. We all know the first one went down around the 25th of May. Then she came back and got re-injured around the 4th of July to the 5th, somewhere up in there of July, and then that brings us until now.
But here's where things get truly revealing. Clark reportedly sought second opinions from specialists in New York without informing the Fever's medical staff about the results. Head coach Stephanie White even admitted she hadn't spoken with the trainers about what Clark's outside doctors discovered. When your franchise player is making independent medical decisions and cutting the team out of the loop, this isn't just about an injury anymore, it's about a complete breakdown in trust. When the Fever brought in Stephanie White, fans thought they were getting a serious upgrade over Christy Sides, a former WNBA Coach of the Year, a championship winner with the Fever as a player on paper. She was the perfect fit. But instead of unlocking what was already working, White seems focused on fixing something that wasn't broken. And the result? A fractured relationship with the most important player in women's basketball.
Only good news about today is Caitlin Clark is no longer dealing with Stephanie White and these coaches and this Indiana Fever medical staff, trainers, doctors, none of that. She's seeing her own medical doctors, her own team. That's the only good news of today. She has abandoned the Indiana Fever medical staff, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. She's pulling a Kawhi Leonard, what he did with the San Antonio Spurs, letting it be known, hey, look, I'll get back to y'all when I'm ready. I'm going with my own medical staff. Y'all can beat it, kick rocks, and I stand with you, Caitlin Clark.
Here's the uncomfortable truth no one wants to admit. Christy Sides knew how to use Caitlin Clark. Say what you will about her shortcomings as a coach, but she understood one core principle: when you have a generational talent, you build around them. You don't force them to fit into your system. Sides let Clark be Clark. She put the ball in her hands, let her control the tempo, and simply watched the magic unfold. The results speak for themselves. Record-breaking rookie stats, a playoff berth for the first time since 2016, and sold-out arenas in every city they visited. Contrast that with Stephanie White, whose recent comments about wanting Clark to play off the ball and share lead guard duties reveal a fundamental misunderstanding of what makes Clark special. You don't take the ball out of Magic Johnson's hands because the defense is pressuring him. You don't bench Michael Jordan because he's being double-teamed. And you certainly don't turn Caitlin Clark into a role player just because your system can't handle her greatness.
The problem of this team is Stephanie White. It's Stephanie White. It's not Caitlin Clark. A great player don't all suddenly sucks. That doesn't happen. It's strategic. And everybody saying that they played better without Caitlin Clark. No. Actually, even this loss, Caitlin Clark gives them a better chance. They're under 500 without Caitlin Clark.
The clearest sign of Clark's frustration came after the Fever's loss to the New York Liberty on July 22nd. Photos emerged showing Clark and her agent in a private meeting with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello and stars Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu in the tunnel at Barclays Center. This wasn't just a casual post-game chat when your agent is present for talks with another team's coaching staff and star players. It's a business meeting about your future. The optics couldn't be clearer. While the Fever continue to mismanage their superstar, the Liberty appear to be laying the groundwork for a potential acquisition. Multiple sources confirm that Clark has effectively fired the Fever's medical team, choosing instead to rely solely on her own doctors. She's consulting specialists in New York but refusing to share any updates with the team's trainers. This level of medical rebellion is unprecedented in women's basketball and eerily mirrors the Kawhi Leonard saga in San Antonio. Experts have noted that Clark's recurring groin and quad injuries point to either poor conditioning protocols or inadequate rehabilitation failures that have only fueled the widening rift between player and organization.
But this is how it starts in sports. This is how it starts in the NFL. This is how it starts in the NBA. When you start seeing the wheels in motion, there's signs. There's signs before eventually a player gets traded. A player eventually marks their next destination. The Indiana Fever, you're on notice. You're on notice. You better recognize what you've got going on, the asset in front of you, and you do whatever you have to do to correct what is happening.
The fact that Clark keeps suffering the same types of injuries reveals that the root cause has never truly been addressed. When Michael Jordan's legendary trainer raised concerns about groin injuries in elite athletes, it sparked important conversations about whether Clark's medical team understands the unique demands of her playing style. The consensus among experts is clear. The Fever's approach to Clark's conditioning and injury prevention has been amateur hour. Now, let's talk about what Clark's absence really costs the team. When she's on the court, the Fever transform into a completely different team. These fluctuations aren't natural. They stem from rushing her back from injuries and forcing her to play in a system that stifles her strengths. This season, the Fever are 4-6 without Clark, including recent games where they've looked solid but nowhere near championship caliber. That's the crucial difference between being a playoff contender and a true title threat, and it all comes down to whether Indiana can keep their superstar healthy and happy.
Why Caitlin Clark was injured is a real thing. It's not just because she's a good player and people go hard against her, in my opinion. There's some other stuff going on there. A lot of pressure to put people in seats, to put eyeballs on the game. You come back a little early. Teams, as they should, play hard against her. Some teams go over the line and refs seem to look the other way, in my opinion. You had some of that going on with some other talent in the league as well last year. But this is different. And Stephanie White needs some blame as well. The team seems a little rudderless.
Here's the uncomfortable truth Fever fans don't want to hear. Caitlin Clark doesn't owe Indiana anything. She's already delivered sold-out crowds, national TV ratings, playoff appearances, and millions in revenue. What has the organization given her in return? A string of injuries, coaching instability, and a medical staff she no longer trusts. The Fever have proven they don't know how to build around a superstar. They hired a coach who seems intent on limiting Clark's impact rather than maximizing it. Clark should be the system, not just a piece of it. She should have the ball in her hands 90% of the time she's on the court, with the offense running at whatever pace she dictates. Every other player should be chosen based on how well they complement her skills. Instead, Stephanie White is trying to force Clark into her vision of basketball, and the results speak for themselves.